So at this point, we have our movie class. We have our context class. We've added entity framework. We have added our seed data, and now we are ready to create our connection string in app settings, and then add the dependency injection to program CS. So let's go into app settings, and you can see that there is no connection right now. And so right after this logging section, that's where we're going to add our, actually I lied, it's going to be after allowed hosts, right after this. So we're going to do a comma here because we're adding on to this. And this is where we're going to put in connection strings. And I can see that once again, Visual Studio is so smart. It's filling things in for me. So I need to give it the movie context, which is my context class. Right. And after that, I have to tell it where it needs to put the database. So this is server equals. This is going to be local while I'm testing it. So it's local DB. And we'll do two little slashes. And the type of database is MS SQL, local DB. We'll do a little semicolon. And then the name of the database is going to be movies. So we're going to say database equals movies. Oops. And then you will set trusted connection equal to true and multiple active result sets equal to true. And then we've got our closing curly brace, and then the closing brace for everything. And so just in case you're wondering, what the heck is trusted connection and multiple active result sets? So trusted connection means use your Windows authentication, and multiple active result sets is basically referring to the fact that you're going to allow SQL Server to execute multiple batches in a single connection, which obviously you want because you want it to be able to do multiple commands. And so if you remember back to your SQL, a command is placed in a batch. Okay, so we do want multiple active results. So now that we have app settings, I'm going to save this, we can add the dependency injection to program CS. Now, because we're going to be adding dependency injection, which is for database, we do need to make sure that we have using Microsoft Entity Framework .core, and that we have using movie list.models at the top. And right now we do not. So we'll add that using statement. And then we want movie list.models. Okay, so we need both of those using statements. And then we can add our dependency injection. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the code. And I am going to put it Let's see. Right between these. So I need to use the builder object, which is created up here. And then I am going to use that object to call services dot add DB context. Oops. And then the data type here is movie context. And I will explain what is going on once I get this typed in, because I don't want to mess this up. All right, so we've got options.use SQL Server builder, which again is my object. Configuration, get connection string. And I'm going to tell it to get my movie context. And then we'll put in the semicolon. All right, so what dependency injection does is it passes the services that the object needs instead of hard coding them. So it's going to pass those services to the controller. And by services, we're really talking about our objects, the database objects. Okay, so when it's in the controller, you'll have to retrieve database rows, or you might have database data that you need to then update the database with. And so this is what we're referring to when we talk about the object or a context object. So this is connecting to movie context, which is where we've defined the connection string right here. Our connection string, movie context. We've got the database as a local database. We're going to use Windows authentication. It's going to allow multiple commands. So we're connecting to that. And if you take a look, we're using SQL Server. Okay, so that all connects back to app settings. And then this is being connected to our movie context class here. Okay, where we're actually telling it, to create the table and use this data. So this kind of pulls it together. It pulls what's in app settings, and it also pulls what's in movie context. So this is actually a pretty critical statement. Without this, we wouldn't have a database. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to save everything. And I'm going to go ahead and run a build.